Masechet Oholot, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph. First Mishnah in the third chapter of Oholot. So we're going to learn, in the last Mishnah, we learned what happens if you have an Ever Min HaChai and you divide it into two. Meaning, is half a shiur or not? Or you have Etzem Kisora, is half a shiur. And we're going to see now, meaning, can you have a minimum shiur? What happens if you take a shiur and you divide it into two of tumat mate? That's the topic of our Mishnah. And then you want to sort of combine them together and have both half shiurim is it mitameh or not? That's the topic of our Mishnah. So in order to first understand this, I want to introduce you to a different idea. So first of all, we learned that there are three ways in order to transfer tumah. One is called tumat maga. Another is tumat ohel and tumat masa. Maga, okay, maga, I'm touching it. Imagine this is I don't know, part of like a bone or something. Here, I got a bone, okay? Maga, I'm touching it. Ohel, if it's over me, I'm over it. There are three types of ohel. It's over me, I'm over it, or I found an ear clip art. Or, let's make this a little bigger, or we're under the same enclosure. Okay, that's ohel. And masa is if I'm carrying something, if I'm causing it to move, but I'm not actually touching it. I'm carrying it without actually touching it. Right, you get the idea. That's the point. Okay, that's maga, masa, and ohel. So now what happens if I have half a shiur of one or half a shiur of another? We're going to come to that. But before we do, we have to learn two more concepts. One is called poteach tefach, meaning, is there a tefach between, we've sort of discussed this, between the tumah and the ohel? And therefore, in this case, that's called, therefore, the ohel stops, it spreads the tumah. This guy is tameh because he's in the same enclosure. But nonetheless, there's the tumah stops. It doesn't continue. That's one kind of tumah. And then there's something, let's say, for example, this guy's under this ear. He's mamash literally under the ear. Okay, he's under it, and they're out in the open. No, they're not. They're out in the open. I don't know. They're not in an enclosure. Okay, they're not in the same enclosure. That's called tumah ritzutza. Tumah ritzutza means it's there's less than a poteach tefach. There's less than a tefach between this person and the thing that's being ma'ahil alav. It's mamash less than a tefach, and when there's no less than a tefach, then the tumah the tumah is like right over, and then therefore the thing that's ma'ahil alav, it will see that there's a difference between that in this case. There's also another difference if the ohel is so close to the tumah that it's less than a tefach, then the tumah continues and is unbroken. So the Mishnah says the following: Kol hamitamin ba'ohel. If you have tumat ohel, shenechliku, and it got split up, vichnisan the tochabai. I mean, I have half a kazayit of one thing, of a thing. I have a kazayit of meat, flesh, and I divide it into two. Vichnisan the tochabai, and I brought them together in the house. So now I have two half kazaytim in the same enclosure. So for our purposes, let's imagine these two cylinders. These two things each one is a half a kazayit. Okay, and now this person, let's leave the ears out of it for now. Okay, this person is now in an ohel with two half kazaytim. So he's in an O with a kazayit of mate. So is that kazayit of mate transferred in tumah or not? That's the question of our Mishnah. Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkinis mitahir. Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkinis says it's tahor. V'chachamim mitamim. Chachamim say it's tameh. Meaning, Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkinis says half a kazayit is not enough, and each one is half a kazayit. So therefore, in order to be tameh, you have to have full kazaytim. It has to be bigger. The Chachamim say no. In the end, he's in the same ohel. He's in an ohel with a full kazayit. Chachamim say, and that's tameh. But it's obviously going to get much more involved than that. Ketzad, how does that work? So Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkinis, we're going to see, doesn't care about how the tumah is transferred. He doesn't care about if it's divided, and the Chachamim also, we'll see, care a little bit. Rabbi Dosa ben Ketzad, oh no, Sam, if you carry two half zaytim, or you touch two half zaytim, you touch them, or no, Sam, or you carry them, of nevela, of a dead animal, ubemate, or for a dead person. Okay, so we said So for a nevela, you have to do the same thing. But for a mate, for tumat mate, if you touch half a kazai zayit, uma'ahil al kachatzi zayit. So let's look at our chart. So let's take this guy and we'll move him out of the tent, right? He is ma'ahil, he's on top of half, and he's touching half. Okay, he is ma'ahil, he's above him, and he's touching half. So he's doing two separate actions on two half kazaitim. Okay, or nogeh b'chazi zayit v'kachazi zayit ma'ahil alav, or you touch half a zayit, or the half zayit is above you. Ma'ahil al kishnei chatzai zaytim, or he's above two half zaytim. Ma'ahil al chatzi zayit, or he's above half a zayit. V'kachazi zayit ma'ahil alav, or the half zayit is above him. So we'll just make that half zayit above him, and he is above half the zayit. How are you jumping through two kizaytim? No idea how you do that, but it's not, I guess, not so hard to figure out. So in all of those cases, the Mishnah says, Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkanis mitaher. Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkanis says, sorry, they can't be combined. V'chachamim mitam'in. V'chachamim are mitameh. Aval, hanogea b'chatzi zayit. V'davar achar ma'ahil alav. V'al chatzi zayit. But if you touch half a zayit, and then there's another thing that's ma'ahil alav and on chatzi zayit. So that, in this case, we're going to be back in our tent. So you're going to touch half a zayit. Okay, he's touching half a zayit, literally touching half a zayit. And then the other half a zayit is here. So there's a tent being ma'ahil alav and the chatzi zayit. So in this case, there is half here through ohel and half here not through ohel. Let's go back to our Mishnah. Or ma'ahil al kachatzi zayit v'davar echer ma'ahil alav ve'al chatzi zayit. He is on top of chatzi zayit and then there's a ma'ahil alav. In that case, you're tahor. Okay, so in that case, then even the Chachamim would agree with Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkanis. Amar Rabbi Meir says no. Af bezer Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkanis mitayir. Rabbi Dosa ben Hirkanis says even in that case it's tahor. V'chachamim mitamim. Chachamim say that's tameh. Why? So now we're going to learn the rule, and there's a lot of ways to learn this Mishnah. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible according to the Bartanura. Hakol tameh. Everything is tameh, meaning combined together. You can combine two things according to Chachamim together. There's the Chachamim. Chutz mina maga im masa v'amasa im ohel. Except maga and masa, touching and lifting with ohel. Why? Zeh klal. This is the rule. Kol shu mishem echad tameh. Mishnei shemot tahor. If it's from one shem, one title, maga, masa, and ohel, it's tameh. But two shemot, it's tahor. If it's two different, if it's maga im ohel, ohel im masa, according to the Chachamim, you don't combine them together. Oh, we have a big problem. In order to understand this Mishnah, we have to understand there's a Reisha and a Seifa. Because we said according to the Reisha, and the Chachamim are mitam'in, if you have ma'ahil, right? If you have ma'ahil together with nogea. Okay? If you're touching it or being ma'ahil alav. We said that those two are combined. Whereas in the Seifa, i.e. the second case, but aval, where it says aval, nogea and ma'ahil do not seem to be combined together. So the Bartanura says, this is the Bartanura's explanation of the Mishnah. There are many other ways, but again, we're trying to keep it straightforward. The Bartanura says, listen, that's where we decide the difference between tumah ritzutza and tumat ohel. Okay? In the case where there's tumah ritzutza, i.e., it's broken, meaning this tumah is literally right above him, that's like you're touching. So since that ohel is like you're touching, that's considered, or if he's like literally right above it, that's considered one thing. So meaning it's considered maga itself. It's as if the guy is touching, and therefore these two have zaytim. If he's touching here and he's literally right under here, that's the reisha of the Mishnah. But in the second case of the Mishnah, the second area of the Mishnah, he's not literally under, he's touching one kazayit, but he's not very close. There's something being mahil alav. There's space. Those are two shemot. Those are two different shemot. Big chidush, because according to this explanation, this is equal, if there's no tefach between them, that's equal to maga. That's equal to touching. And that's a huge, huge chidush, and it's not obvious, and there's a huge machloket about it. We're not going to get into it. This is Mishnah Yomit. We're not doing Oholot Be'iyun. But just understand, that's a huge machloket, and there's another way of understanding the Mishnah, that you would consider two different types of ohel. Ma'ahil alav, and in the simple explanation of the Mishnah, remember, the second case is davar acher. There's a third thing. Are there two types of ohel? Yes. But is it ohel? Are the two types tumah ritzutza, close tumah and far tumah? Or are the two types ohel direct or ohel through a third object? The Bartanura says the third object here is irrelevant, but That's something that's beyond the scope of this Mishnah. I know we went too long. I hope we explained it clearly. If you have comments or questions, feel free to email me, WhatsApp me, Telegram me. I never got a direct Telegram. Nobody ever sent me a Telegram yet. If you have comments or questions, I always love hearing from you. Make it a great day.